Unleash your inner boss for ways to handle disrespect without losing yourself. Hey, for successful Life DH fans, ready to level up your life? Let's be real. Disrespect happens. People cross boundaries, dish out subtle jabs, and it's easy to feel drained. But not anymore. In this video, I'm giving you 4 brutally honest ways to handle disrespect like a boss. Get ready to reclaim your power and live life on your terms. Alright, let's get real with each other. Ever noticed how some people seem to really enjoy testing your boundaries? They interrupt you, make subtle digs, or act like your time and emotions don't matter, and we're just supposed to smile and take it? No way! If you're fed up with dealing with those who don't know respect, then this video is for you. Today, I'm going to expose the methods for handling disrespect head-on, maybe a little shockingly, without losing your cool or sacrificing your self-respect. Fasten your seatbelts, because by the end of this video, you'll have all the tools you need to show everyone exactly where that line is. Let's get started. Number 1. Master the silent stare. Alright, let's start with one of my favorite techniques, a slightly tricky one, the silent stare. Wait, you might be thinking, really? Just staring? Trust me. When someone is openly rude or disrespectful, there's nothing that throws them off balance more than a long, calm stare that isn't affected in the slightest. Here's why it's so effective. Those who disrespect are often looking for a reaction. They want you to stammer, get flustered, or even lose it. They want to drag you into their dramatic mess, making you doubt yourself or feel small. But when you only look at them, without a word, without an expression, then the situation is completely reversed. I understand. It might sound a little unpleasant, but hear me out. There's something extremely uncomfortable when someone doesn't get the reaction they expected. When you maintain a fixed, silent gaze, you are saying without words, I don't have the energy to play this game with you. It's a way to regain control, even without lifting a finger. And sometimes, that silent stare is the clearest and most powerful no you'll ever say. Let me tell you about a time when this technique worked like magic. I was attending a group meeting, and there was a guy who kept talking over me, interrupting as if he was on a mission of utmost importance. You know that type, loud, overly confident, thinking that everyone has to hang on his every word. I tried to interject, tried to be polite, but he just wouldn't stop. So in the end, I just looked at him. I leaned back in my chair, folded my arms, and held his gaze, without blinking, without any expression, just staring for 5 horrific seconds. I didn't say a word. You could feel the tension spreading, and the best thing was that everyone else at the table also started looking at him, wondering what he was going to do next. He started to feel uncomfortable, stuttering, and suddenly looking away. He didn't dare interrupt me again throughout the meeting. That silent stare was more effective than any words. And it didn't just end his behavior in that moment. He actually started treating me with more respect afterwards, as if he finally realized that I wasn't a puppet for him to do as he pleased. Sometimes, you have to show people who you are, without saying a word. Let's dig deeper a bit, because it's not just a power play. When you master the silent stare, It's like a reminder to both you and the other person that you don't need to dance to anyone's tune. You don't owe anyone an emotional reaction. And you don't need to prove yourself to people who don't see your worth. It's about reclaiming your space, your peace, and your dignity. Usually, when someone is disrespectful, we feel compelled to defend ourselves, to explain, or worse, to let it go because we don't want to make a scene. But the silent stare isn't about becoming aggressive. It's about showing that you're steady, unaffected, and completely in control of your emotions. It's also about responsibility. Those who habitually disrespect others often do it without thinking. They've never been called out, have never had to face the real consequences of treating others badly. When you give them that cold stare, it's like you're holding a mirror up to their face. Suddenly, they have to face their own actions. You're not saying they're wrong, you're showing them. And most people don't like seeing themselves like that. That's why it's so effective. I've noticed that this silent stare trick not only makes the other person back down, it also strengthens your self-esteem. When you stand there, silent and steady, you're reminding yourself that their words or actions can't shake you. I used to be the type of person who would smile awkwardly when hearing rude remarks, or try to explain myself when someone questioned my choices. But honestly, it just left me exhausted and feeling worse. Learning to just look at someone, to let the silence fill the room without wavering, was a major turning point. It feels like a small act of rebellion, a silent but powerful declaration of self-respect. So, if someone is being rude, crossing the line, or making you feel inferior, try the silent stare trick. Just look at them, let them feel the weight of your calmness. You'll be surprised to see how uncomfortable it makes them, and how powerful it makes you feel. The silent stare says, I respect myself too much to be dragged into your negativity. And that's a message worth sending. Number 2, turn silence into your answer. Here's an extremely useful secret weapon that is often underestimated: silence. When someone disrespects you, one of the strongest reactions you can have is no reaction at all. Listen, I know what you're thinking. Silence seems passive, almost like you're letting them get away with it, right? But the truth is, silence isn't at all passive. It's a choice. And sometimes it's the most forceful and eloquent answer you can give. When someone throws negativity at you, they are trying to drag you into their drama, making you feel small or have to defend yourself. But when you don't engage, when you leave those words suspended in the air without responding, it forces them to be alone with their own behavior, and that silence is truly terrifying. This is why it's so effective. Those who disrespect others often expect a reaction. They're seeking an argument, a justification, or simply a confirmation for their behavior. But silence says, I won't waste my energy on you. By not participating, you keep control of the conversation and show them that you're not here to entertain their disrespect. Sometimes, the most powerful way to communicate is not to communicate at all. It's a subtle reminder that they don't deserve your time and words. I remember once being in a situation with someone who seemed unable to resist making digs. You know that type of person? They disguise their insults under the guise of jokes and try to make it seem harmless. One day, He said something completely unnecessary about my work, clearly trying to provoke me. Usually, I would try to explain myself or even fire back a comment. But this time, I just looked at him, raised my eyebrows, and said absolutely nothing. I left his words suspended in the air, so he could feel that uncomfortable silence. And you know what happened? He completely froze. He looked at me, then looked down at the ground, mumbled something, and moved on to another topic. That was the last time he dared try that trick on me. It was like he realized that, if I didn't react, he couldn't achieve any goal. And that's the beauty of silence. It strangles the attention that disrespect always craves. The deeper message here is, when you choose silence, you are choosing yourself. You are saying, I value my peace more than your opinion of me, and that doesn't just empower you. It's a revolution. We often feel pressured to react, to explain ourselves, to defend our choices, or to prove our worth to people who aren't at all interested in respecting us. But by embracing silence, you are refusing to play by their rules. You're standing up without lifting a finger. You are letting them know that they are not worthy of your words. And it's not just about controlling the situation. It's about reclaiming your energy. Silence is like a filter. It keeps your peace intact by preventing the negativity that others are trying to throw at you. The moment you stop feeling the need to react to every rude remark, every subtle insult, you free yourself. You stop allowing others to access your inner world, and you start living your life according to your own terms. To be honest, learning how to use silence wasn't easy for me. I used to think that if I didn't defend myself, I would seem weak or passive. But I began to notice something interesting. Every time I reacted to those who disrespected me, I would end up feeling exhausted and annoyed. But when I kept silent, when I let those remarks pass by like white noise, I realized that I felt lighter, more powerful, and in more control. It's like I reclaimed a part of my strength every time I chose silence over reacting. So, here's a challenge for you. Next time someone disrespects you, stop, take a deep breath, look them straight in the eye, and say nothing. Let your silence speak. You might be surprised to see how uncomfortable it makes them, and how much freedom it brings you. Embrace silence as your answer, because sometimes saying nothing is the strongest statement. Number 3. Stop explaining your choices. All right, this will touch the hearts of many of us. Stop explaining your choices. Seriously, how many times have you made a decision for yourself, only to immediately be interrogated with a series of why questions? Why did you do that? Why didn't you go to that event? Why did you choose that job? People seem to think they have a right to hear an explanation for everything you do. But the truth is, they don't have that right. Your choices are yours, and you don't owe anyone an explanation about how you live your life. I know this sounds a bit controversial, but let's face it, if someone is questioning your choices, they are usually not looking for understanding. They are looking for a way to judge, to nitpick, to make you doubt yourself, or to feel better about their own decisions by making you doubt your own. And you know what? You don't need to participate in that game. When you stop explaining yourself, you will regain your autonomy, and show them that your life isn't a public newsletter for everyone to scrutinize. Let's dissect it a bit more about why people feel they have the right to hear an explanation from the start. Usually, when people question your choices, it's because your decision is challenging their worldview. Maybe you're taking a risk that they are too scared to take. Or maybe you're stepping out of the rules that they feel so comfortable in. Your independence or willingness to do things differently can make them uncomfortable. And asking you to explain is just a way for them to try to stuff you back into their safe zone. But here is the main point. Just because they feel uncomfortable doesn't mean that you have a responsibility to reassure them. Your life isn't a press release. You don't need to prove your choices to anyone. I remember when I decided to switch to another field, from a safe job to something that I was really passionate about. But that came with a lot of risks. The moment people found out, it was like I announced that I was moving to Mars. I was constantly asked why I was giving up a stable job and how I was going to manage. At first, I tried to explain, talking about how I wanted something more meaningful, about how I had a clear plan. But I quickly realized that, no matter what I said, it was never enough. The more I explained, the more people questioned me, nitpicking, and making me feel like I needed to prove myself. Then one day I decided to try something new. When someone asked me, "But why did you give up that job?" I simply answered, "Because I wanted to." There were no extra details, no analysis of strategy, just a simple answer. And let me tell you, it was truly amazing. The silence that followed was precious. People didn't know how to react, because I had taken away their right to question my choices. And you know what? In the end, they stopped asking. This is the real beauty of not explaining yourself. It gives you freedom. That is you standing strong on your own 2 feet, knowing that your decisions are good enough, simply because you made them. When you stop justifying your actions, you allow yourself to live authentically, without having to carry the burden of others' expectations. You stop wasting energy on explanations, and start putting all your effort into really living the life that you want. There is a very important lesson here. Your life doesn't need a vote from the audience. Not every decision needs to be analyzed or approved by others. And when you stop explaining yourself, you are showing everyone that you are confident in your choices, to the point that you don't need their approval. Think about it. When is the last time you saw a truly confident person sitting and analyzing their decisions with others? Probably never, because those who master their own lives don't need recognition from the outside. They know that the only approval that matters is their own. Listen, I have been like that. I used to be the type of person who would present PowerPoint slides full of reasons why I did something, just to convince people to support me. But over time, I realized that explaining myself to everyone only made me doubt my own choices. So, I made a deal with myself. If someone asks me about a decision, I will answer briefly, maybe just 1 or 2 sentences. If they keep trying to dig deeper, I will smile and change the subject. And you know what? My life has become much easier since I stopped explaining. The less I explain, the more confident I am about my choices. So, here is the challenge to you. Next time someone questions your choices, resist the urge to explain. Just say, "Because I wanted to," or "because it felt right to me," and then let the silence speak. Observe the power of that simple answer. I assure you that you will feel stronger, more in control, and more at peace within yourself than ever before. And the best thing is that you will understand that your choices don't need anyone's stamp of approval. They are completely valid, simply because you made them. Number 4. Set the boundaries and keep your distance. Let's be real for a bit. Sometimes, the best way to deal with those who don't respect you is to simply keep your distance from them. I know this sounds a bit harsh, or even a bit cold, but this is a tough truth. Not everyone deserves a position on the front row of the movie of your life. And if someone is continuously disrespectful to you, putting you down, draining you, or continuously triggering your anxiety, then one of the wisest choices that you can make is to create a distance between you and them. No, this doesn't mean that you have to hate them, stage a dramatic confrontation, or launch a total war. It simply means that you respect yourself enough to prioritize and protect your precious energy. Keeping your distance isn't about being mean, petty, or ignoring people. It's about consciously choosing where and how you will invest your limited time and energy. Imagine your life as a private club where not everyone is invited to the inner sanctum. If someone is continuously trampling on your boundaries, making you feel small, or simply radiating negativity, then why on earth would you keep them close to you? It's not just okay to take a step back. It's absolutely essential. When you create distance from disrespect, you allow yourself to have space to breathe, clarity to see things more clearly, escaping the manipulative fog of emotional threats, guilt trips, and toxic comparisons. Think about it. When you keep those who disrespect you near, it's like you're giving them a pass to attend a buffet of your emotions and mental state, where they are free to criticize, belittle, and judge as they please. Then we sit there and wonder why we feel exhausted all the time. Giving yourself some space from those kinds of people isn't selfish. It's an act of self-preservation. It's about protecting your mental health, preserving your peace, and making room in your life for people who truly respect, lift you up, and inspire you. Release that self-imposed guilt. Stand tall. Set boundaries and remember, you are not obliged to keep disrespectful, life-draining people in your orbit. Let me share a story to illustrate what I mean. There was a friend who always found a way to pass a sly, criticizing comment. Whatever my decisions were, my career, relationships, even musical preferences, the first idea was to brush it off. Tough she just like that. Maybe I am overreacting, or I should grow a thicker skin. So, being silly, I kept her around. Kept trying to shrug the sly comments and reminding myself that it wasn't a big deal. But, over time, those small jabs seeped into my soul, and they began eating away my confidence. So at some point it got to the extent where I was cautious what to say, in constant alertness, to avoid any disrespect. That day, I came to the realization that I was using far too much of my energy to plan and disarm her negativity. That has slowly poisoning my mind. Then, I decided, with difficulties, to set a good and healthy range. As previously stated, the strength comes from creating the distance. If you build a physical and emotional wall between you and people who spreads toxic energy, you are communicating so clear that you don't agree at all with his warped view. When you keep folks that don't show you care in an arm's length, you also protect yourself and demonstrate that will not play by those set of rules. You let be known non-verbal with your actions that you are respecting so that don't enable the continuation. And that is not just controlling his action. It is above all recovering your peace and energy. Keeping distance is like protecting yourself with a force field that allow you to keep safe the peace and will impede other toxic to attack you. What it is even better is to release the need to keep these people near. Then you became the owner of a new reality when you start living a true life. So hear my challenge. Next time those disrespectfulness and lack of respect shown up, hold on for a moment, breath deep and look at the relationship. You should ask the question, is this relation elevate me or is making me feel drained? Is the presence of this person elevate my spirit and bring happiness? Or on the opposite make me feel drained, then do the final call. It is time to create some space, little or even a ton. Remember, one is no needs of any permission, and it is your own decisions that are above all valid. All right, that's it for today's episode. We've uncovered for powerful ways to handle disrespect and reclaim your power. Now, your mission. Pick just one of these strategies this week and put it into action. Then, head to the comments and share your story. Let's create a community where we all stand tall, own our worth, and live life on OUR terms. And if this resonated with you, hit that thumbs up. Subscribe to For Successful Life DH YouTube channel for more empowering content. And tap the notification bell. Remember, you deserve respect, and you have the power to make it happen. Now go out there and claim it.